Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soren Review. And today we are going to be doing a playoff prediction video. We're going to be predicting which cars have a shot at making the 16 car playoff for 2023 in the Cup Series. I've divided it into 5 categories: guaranteed, basically guaranteed, almost guaranteed for situations like Truex last year, has a chance without a win. Can they point their way into the playoffs with a win? They'll probably need a win to make the playoffs. And then no shot, in my opinion, goes to part timers, underfunded cars, or car or drivers I don't think will win to make the playoffs. And so we're going to start off with maybe a controversial opinion to some, maybe not. I'm going to start off with Eric Almirola, and I'm going to put him with a win. Eric Almirola did not have a great season last year. Started out really good, started out pretty consistent, but he struggled in the second half. And I think for Eric Almirola, this is probably his last year. I just don't see. I think he's only on a 1 year deal. This is Eric Almirola's last shot, I think, to make the playoffs. And I think he's going to need a win. I think he's going to need a New Hampshire win or a plate track win to have a shot at making the playoffs, because I just don't think he'll be in the top 20, especially with the level of competition to make the playoffs. Christopher Bell is coming off a championship for appearance, and I'm gonna put him in guaranteed. Christopher Bell, I might make a separate video of championship of playoff predictions or race winners. Christopher Bell is one of the top 3 drivers, I think, for next year. Christopher Bell is a favorite to win the championship. He's a favorite to get the most wins in the season. Christopher Bell is here to stay, and I think he's guaranteed to make the playoffs, and I think he's guaranteed to make it to the round of 8 and maybe even the final 4 if you wanted to stretch it. I'm also going to put Denny Hamlin in guaranteed. Hamlin did not have that many wins last year, but he was really consistent, really showed up in the second half of the playoffs. He would have been in the final 4 had it not been for Chastain's Hale Malin at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin is another consistent driver. I know he started out really bad last season, but listen, that's a different year. I think he'll be a consistent top 10 driver most of the races, most of the year. Denny Hamlin guaranteed. Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. both go into almost guaranteed. Listen, they both almost missed the playoffs last year. Only one win between the both of them, and that was the All-Star race for Blaney. Both just need a reset this season. Both are driving for top-tier teams. They both know how to win. I think they'll both win next year. For Martin Truex Jr., I think 2023 might be his final year. Blaney, this needs to really have a solid season. Remember, Ryan Blaney was top what like both were top 5 in points last year. Both had some great seasons, just didn't get to victory lane. That's why I put them in almost guaranteed. One of them, either one, almost missed the playoffs last year. Gonna go and almost guaranteed. Chase Briscoe's gonna go and has a chance to point his way in, has a chance without a win. Briscoe was solid last season, made it to the round of 8. I think he started to get a grip on the car, almost won at the Coke 600 Bristol Dirt, got a win at Phoenix. I think Chase Briscoe's probably gonna be in the top 16 points wise most of the time. We'll just see how many winners we get, but if we don't get that many winners, I think he'll be able to point his way in. A similar situation can be said for Chris Buescher. I'm going to put him more on with a win. However, I think Chris Buescher has a shot at making the points. He's going to need a solid season for sure, but Chris Buescher got that win at Bristol. Was pretty consistent, had some really good runs on the road courses. Chris Buescher, I think he has a shot. Rookie Harrison Burton, he's going to put with a win. Harrison Burton was pretty disappointing last season, had only a couple top 10s or so. Didn't really impress much. Wasn't really there much most of the year. Started out really bad, and then the second half of the season was forgettable at best. I kind of forgot Harrison Burton was on the track most times. So I think Harrison Burton isn't going to point his way in. I think he'll probably be top 25 in points. I think he could luck into a win maybe at a plate track or fuel mileage or something. Harrison Burton with a win. Ross Chastain, I'm going to put him right next to Denny Hamlin for the fun of it. But Ross Chastain is guaranteed to make the playoffs. He's on fire, similar to Christopher Bell. I don't think Chastain will win a whole lot next season. 1 to 3 wins maybe for Ross Chastain, but I think he'll be consistent. He had some of the most top fives last year. Chastain, he'll be fine. He's probably guaranteed. A similar situation for Joey Logano. He's the reigning champion. Joey Logano, I don't know what happened in 2017. That was really a fluke year for Logano. Listen, Logano will grab a win or two. He'll make the round of 8 like he always does. Joey Logano, he'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. This one might be a little controversial, but I'm going to put Eric Jones with Briscoe and Buescher. He was very, very good last year. I think Eric Jones will have a slightly elevated season from last year. Grab that win at Darlington. I think he'll be fine. I think he can point his way in, be top 20 in points most of the year. Eric Jones might make the playoffs. This one is probably the most controversial one. Bubba Wallace, I am going to put him with a win, but I'm going to put him on the higher I'm going to put him on the higher scale of with a win. Just barely. I don't think he's going to point his way in. Bubba Wallace was about 20th in points all year long. He got that win at Kansas, but Bubba Wallace is a hit or miss in my opinion. He either runs really well or doesn't. And I think Bubba Wallace runs really well when his equipment runs really well. I don't think Bubba Wallace runs really, really well when by himself, but when you give him fast Toyota equipment, Bubba Wallace can make it happen. I just don't think, though, he'll be able to point his way in. He's going to need a win at somewhere like Daytona or Talladega or somewhere else to make it in. William Byron, I am going to put him in the almost guaranteed category. William Byron, 2 wins last year, but his top 10s were not there. He got some of the least amount of top 10s of any of the higher ranking playoff drivers. I think he's almost guaranteed 2 wins for last year, and I think Byron will probably grab another win last year. Top 10 in regular season points most of the year, but William Byron, there is still a shot I could see him of not making the playoffs. I'm going to skip the 2 Heisman cars and go to Austin Cindric. I'm going to put Austin Cindric and has a chance without a win. And I'm actually going to put Cindric below Eric Jones. Austin Cindric had a pretty decent season. I believe 7 or 8 top 10s and of course the Daytona 500. But Cindric never really had the winning pace after the Daytona 500. But he had a lot of consistency. I think he'll up that 8 amount of top 10s. I think he'll probably grab about 10 to 12. I think he has a shot to point his way in if things go right for Cindric. Justin Haley, I'm going to put him with a win. Justin Haley last year had a very quiet but consistent season. Had winning pace at a few times. I think he'll sneak a plate track win in there, and if he does, he could be a threat in the playoffs. But it's going to take a win, I think, for Justin Haley to make it. This one might be a bit controversial for some. Michael McDowell has a chance without a win, and if Michael McDowell ran as good as he did last year, Michael McDowell will point his way into the playoffs. Michael McDowell, he had that 100-point penalty. Had he not had that, he would have been top 20 in points. Front row motorsports equipment. Great, great runs last year for Michael McDowell. I mean, he just ran really well. I think he could sneak a win, but if not, he'll be consistent. McDowell has a shot to make the playoffs next year. I'm gonna skip Zane Smith. He's a part-time driver, and go to Todd Gilliland, the sophomore. I think Todd Gilliland's going to need a win, and I'm actually going to put him at the end of the scale here. Todd Gilliland ran really well last season. For a front row motorsports rookie, I recall Watkins Glen in the Indy Grand Prix. Road courses were definitely a specialty, but Todd Gilliland's going to need something more than than just a consistent point say. He's going to need a win, and I just don't see it happening. I just don't see Todd Gilliland pulling it off. He might, though. Maybe we'll get himself lucky, but he's going to need a win. Austin Dillon, I'm going to put him, has a chance to without a win. I think he has about as much chance as Michael McDowell or Austin Singer. Um, Austin Dillon is a hit or miss. Last year, he had the most DNFs of his career, but some of the most top tens of his career. So Austin Dillon last year was a had some really good runs, had some really bad runs. If Austin Dillon's luck is on his side, I think Austin Dillon can luck his way into the playoffs. Maybe he'll get another lucky win. I think for Austin Dillon, it's going to come down to luck. But if he has it on his side, he's consistent enough to point his way into the playoffs. Ryan Preece, I'm going to have to put Ryan Preece in the win category. Ryan Preece is a very talented driver, but we just don't know how he's going to run in Stewart Haas equipment, and I don't think we know how Stewart Haas equipment is going to run. I think if Stewart Haas is a top tier team last year, or for 2023, maybe Ryan Preece can grab a win and make his way into the playoffs, but I just don't see Preece being consistent enough, especially, citing his JTG Dotery ride. Maybe Preece has improved. I think he has. We see how well he runs in the truck series, but will he be able to take that and put it into those cup cars? Noah Gragson, I'm also going to put him in the win category. Noah Gragson is a great driver. He had that great run at Michigan, I believe, before problems ensued. Noah Gragson came off a phenomenal Xfinity season. But will that be able to translate into a successful Cup Series season, especially for Petty GMS? Was it Ty Dillon, or was it more the equipment for Ty Dillon last or for 2022? 2023 is going to be an interesting year for Noah Gragson. How well does he run as a rookie? Tyler Reddick is in an interesting situation. New ride in this 45. I'm going to put him in has a chance without a win. And I'm actually going to put him right here. Why am I not putting him in almost guaranteed? It's Tyler Reddick. There's a couple reasons. Toyota. I don't know how Toyota's going to run next season. Toyota was a hit or miss on the road courses, somewhere where Reddick ran really, really well last season. I just don't know how Toyota's going to do it. Um, Tyler Reddick will probably get a win or two next season, but if not, he'll probably point his way in. Tyler Reddick's almost a guarantee, but I just cannot put him in the same category as Truex or Blaney. AJ Allmendinger, this is going to get me hated that Reddick's in this category, and AJ Allmendinger is almost guaranteed a playoff spot. AJ Allmendinger is a consistent, talented driver, and that first word is what's going to make him get into the playoffs. Consistent. Allmendinger almost won at Watkins Glen and especially Coda. AJ Allmendinger is a consistent driver. I think in a season of chaos, if he can keep his head down and run top 15 every week, AJ Allmendinger will have no trouble at making the playoffs. Allmendinger, I think, is guaranteed in making the playoffs. As for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I'm going to be truly honest. Stenhouse, I think, has the lowest chance of any of these drivers with a win of making it in. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had one good run at Dover, a couple top tens around that time, and that is it. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has taken a nosedive. 2021 was unremarkable, and 2022 was just straight out bad. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. needs to figure out something. There's a lot of young guys coming out here, and I know JTG Dotery is struggling financially sometimes. I just don't see Stenhouse having another season like he did and remaining at JTG Dotery. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I just don't see it winning or making the playoffs. Alex Bowman's an almost guaranteed. I think he'll luck his way into a win or somehow. He always seems to do it. He ran top 10 in points. I'm not going to really justify Bowman much, but I think he's almost guaranteed. Harvick, similar situation. I think Harvick is almost guaranteed, slightly more than these drivers, but Harvick will need a win. I think he'll be fine in points. He ran really well last season. Harvick should make the playoffs. Of course, the 50 car is a part-time. Cody Ware, Cody, I'm sorry. Unless Rick Ware, with their new technical alliance with RFK, finds some miraculous speed, Cody Ware doesn't have a shot at making the playoffs. Got to be top 30. I don't see that happening. Um, Ty Gibbs, I'm gonna put him in. Has a chance without a win, but he's at the bottom of the scale. Ty Gibbs ran the last third of the season with what's it called, 2311 Racing. He's with Joe Gibbs Racing now, the flagship Toyota team. But Ty Gibbs ran pretty meh, I would say, in his cup starts. I was not impressed. He ran pretty bad, in my opinion, for what we think of this miraculous Ty Gibbs. I'm going to have to put him. He barely has a chance, I think, to point his way in. Um, if he runs really well and finds speed, maybe, but I just don't. He's actually, to be honest with you, I'm going to actually move him down to here. I think he barely has a shot to make. I think he's going to need a win to make the playoffs. I don't even know if. Does anyone know if MBM is making starts next year? It's interesting. Kyle Larson, I think, is guaranteed to make the playoffs. As crazy as that may sound, it's Kyle Larson. He ran very well in points last season. I think Kyle Larson will grab a win next year, early on in the season, and he'll be fine. I'd be surprised if Larson doesn't get more than. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get more than 2 wins next season. I think Kyle Larson will be absolutely fine in making the playoffs. 62 with Austin Hill. Brad Keselowski has as much of a shot as Christopher Buescher to make the playoffs on points. Both ran equally in points had it not been for his penalty. Both are about 20th. If they get luck on their side, I think they can point their way in. I'm going to be honest with you, Ty Dillon has no shot in making the playoffs. I don't think Ty Dillon should be in the Cup Series. I just don't see it happening. Just don't. 78 cars, running multiple cars. Corey LaJoy has slightly more of a shot, I think, than Ricky Stenhouse Jr. LaJoy almost won Atlanta. Stenhouse, I think LaJoy will need luck on his side, but I think if he gets lucky, he can grab a win, make the playoffs. Jimmy, what's Jimmy? He's not running full time. 3 more. And where do you put Kyle Busch? I think you put Kyle Busch here. I think he has a chance without a win to make the playoffs. I think he can point his way in, but I will not say Kyle Busch is guaranteed. I just can't say Kyle Busch is guaranteed to making the playoffs. I don't know how RCR will run next year. Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, they ran pretty well. Will they carry that speed into 2023? And will Kyle Busch carry in speed into 2023? I don't know yet. I think Kyle Busch next year is one of the biggest unknowns. Gotta put him right by Reddick. I think both will probably make the playoffs. They should be in their own league of their own, to be honest with you, Reddick and Kyle Busch, but I gotta put him here. Daniel Suarez, I'm gonna put him right behind them. Actually, Daniel Suarez should point his way in, no problem. Suarez ran very well last season. He's a consistent driver. Probably will grab a win next season at a road course or somewhere else. Suarez should be fine in making the playoffs. And Chase Elliott, similar situation to Kyle Larson. Elliott should have no problem, I think, in making the playoffs. He was the most consistent driver last year. I mean, I just don't think you can say that he doesn't have a shot to make the playoffs. So there you go. There is my predictions. In at least who has a shot at making the playoffs, some more than others. We'll make a video soon of winners, who will win each race, who will make the playoffs, who will win the championship, like we did for 2020, I believe, or for the 2021 season. As you see here, 12 drivers. I think have a shot. If I were to choose, I'd choose these 12. And then of these 4, I'd probably choose Reddick, Kyle Busch, Suarez. And then I think it's a toss-up in whoever gets a lucky win. I think you'd probably see Eric Jones, I think more than Chase Briscoe. Um, or Austin Dillon probably because he always seems to luck his way into a win. Or even one of these guys as well. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.